Hey guys, Roman here. This is my first video that I'm doing in a series of videos I'm going to do. First of all, let me just say that I love tennis. I'm a huge fan, and I want to bring out good content that is objective, and we'll talk about all the facts and everything that's happening with tennis right now. Some of the things I want to address is like the GOAT debate. Who's the greatest of all time, right? My personal opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinions right now, would be that it's Federer, Nadal, and then Djokovic. And the reason why it's that in that order is because of slam counts, right? We can all agree objectively that the most important tool or gauge we can use to evaluate who's the GOAT would be slam count. That being said, I believe that will shortly change. Oh, shit. Anyway, so I was gonna buy some actual equipment, some recording, a mic, a proper mic, like have a nice backdrop, but I couldn't wait any longer. I'm so passionate about tennis. I just wanted to make a video already and just upload it and see how we go. Even if it got barely any views and I didn't get any subscribers out of it, whatever, as long as the content's out there, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to get better. I think I'm going to structure out the shows better as I progress and move on with these kinds of videos. For now, I'm just freestyling it. But what I want to address is the state of the game right now and how it is. So I was at the Australian Open because I like I said, I love going to tennis. I love watching it. I love playing it, play myself. I've been playing since I was a kid. So, that's kind of what's inspired me to make videos in the first place and just create a dialogue and commentary about, tennis in general. I'm subscribed to different other sites on YouTube, other tennis talk shows and stuff. And it seems to me that a lot of them few of them are pro-Fed. Actually, most of them are pro-Fed, and some of them are also kind of pro-Nadal, or at least favoring Nadal over Djokovic. Let me tell you right now that I'm a huge Novak fan, so I'm not going to hide that. And for me, I think that no one is really standing up for Novak, in the kind of tennis community. Everyone is kind of resistant to change. We all fawn over Federer, because the style of tennis that he plays with, his kind of like majestic shots and his he's got good footwork and just incredible shot selections. And it is really beautiful to see Federer play, when at his best, when he was playing at his prime, or even when he shows glimpses of like his former self. We can all agree that in terms of the GOAT debate, Federer is there right now. You could say that he's still GOAT right now just based on slam count, but it's clear, objectively speaking, and looking at all the facts and just the eye test, that we can see that Djokovic is making a charge, right? And he's in incredible form. He's won 3 out of the last 4 slams, and if he wins at the French, right, because his form is that impeccable, then there's really no slowing him down. He'll get his second non-year calendar slam, and then if he wins Wimbledon and US Open as well, that's a Grand Slam right there. Career Grand Slam. So, calendar Grand Slam. So he's got ample opportunity to do that and to, really surpass and solidify his name in the GOAT conversation. Now, the thing why I believe that Novak will do that is because there's really no one right now who could challenge him, right? Nadal is, he's mentally against Djokovic, he's just not there. Like, Novak has just been owning him recently. Their head-to-heads speak for themselves, right? And Novak just looks so calm when he plays, especially against Nadal. And I was there at the Australian Open final, and just the way he dismantled him, so clinical in straight sets, was so impressive. And I hate that people are starting to diminish Djokovic's greatness and all his achievements. They're saying like, oh, Rafa was just coming back from an injury, and you hadn't had enough like match play, or like hadn't faced enough tough competition to be able to effectively deal with Djokovic and play his best. Okay, that is completely BS. Leading up to the tournament, leading up to the final, he was playing incredibly well. His serve percentage was as high as it's like ever been, right? You can agree. I think he was serving up to like, I don't have the stats on me, but I think it was high 70%, even low 80%. First serves in, I believe. So he was accurate. I beg your pardon. I think he was winning between in the 75% range. He was winning on first serves. Either that, he was just, or just he was, serving that great. And he was being a lot more aggressive, right? And his serves were a lot more quicker. He was on average, if you look at the previous, Grand Slams, he was serving quicker, more effective, more accurate, being more aggressive, coming to the net more, just playing a more aggressive style, which I'm pretty sure Carlos Moya was, telling him to do, or strategizing with him to be more aggressive, because Rafa can fall into a more defensive mindset usually. And that he was trying to flip the script and trying to, make points shorter and just be more effective and efficient. Now, I will say this. I got there and I had pretty good seats, and I was baseline, and I saw like lower baseline, and I saw there was a bit of nerves with Nadal early on. I'll grant him that, but then after, as the match progressed, Djokovic was too good. Djokovic was just playing such good clinical tennis, deep returns. On serve, he was impeccable. Placement was beautiful. He looked so calm, his demeanor, and was so calm on the court, and he was so confident. The way he was approaching the match was just, he had a game plan in his mind, and he followed it very effectively. So, and Nadal tried to break up the rhythm, I believe, but Djokovic was just dictating all the points. So, the aggressiveness that Nadal was trying to bring to his game wasn't effective against Novak. And that's just because Novak right now is the best tennis player currently. And I believe in the GOAT conversation, the GOAT debate, he will surpass Federer. It's only a matter of time. I honestly don't think Federer is going to win another Grand Slam. Now, for all the Fed fans out there, you're like, you might be thinking, oh, that's you don't want to believe that, right? Or you might think I'm a hater or whatever. It's a funny term, hater. Like, that's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just looking from my perspective and my opinion on the thing is, and we can all agree that Federer's getting a lot older. He's 37, turning 38. This is kind of like father time, and I can make comparisons with, like, I don't know. I'll make an analogy. Take Tom Brady, right? Now, Tom Brady is, in his early 40s, and he's obviously declined in terms of his like efficiency, and he's not the same player as he used to be. He's still just just fresh from a Super Bowl. But I think NFL is a different game. As a quarterback, as playing NFL as a quarterback, it's not as heavily reliant on agility, which is crucial in tennis. So footwork, there is obviously footwork involved, like you have to dance around the pocket, things like that. But if you've got a good, is it offensive line? Shit, I don't get this wrong. Defensive line, right? Offensive line. Then they can give you enough time and opportunities to throw a good ball. And if your receivers are out in the right spots, okay, you just have to work on your throwing arm, right? And as long as that's good, you're set. So tennis is a different animal. It's relying on footwork, agility, speed, getting to balls, getting yourself in the right position to hit a good ball. Technically, obviously, Federer is incredibly technically gifted. So he's always going to, as his footwork or speed or agility diminishes, he'll still have that to rely on, as long as he can get to balls. But you can see that he's just not the same as he used to be. And it's just evident in his results. Now, no one is talking about how, I've heard things about Djokovic not being clutch, right? There's a guy called Goldwolf. Now, I'm just saying this because we like the people who watch tennis, the tennis community. I just shout him out because I think Goldwolf's really funny. So Goldwolf made a comment about what do you say again? How Nadal would crush Djokovic, right? And he always calls Djokovic Chokovic, which I just find hysterical. And he's a big supporter of, I think he's a big Federer fan too. I think he's mostly a Fed fan, and Rafa, and just hates Djokovic, just pure hate. But anyway, after Djokovic won, he just wasn't found for weeks. Just like you couldn't find him in the comment section. I just thought that was really, really funny. But yeah, so no one talks about how Federer actually and Tsitsipas kind of choked. He choked hard. He was up a set, and he had 12 break points in the second set and 4 break set points, right? And he couldn't convert. He couldn't convert any of those break points, any of those set points, and he just completely capitulated. Is that GOAT worthy? Would a GOAT, and he just beat him in the Hopman Cup like a couple weeks ago, right? In straight sets. I think it was Hopman Cup. Don't quote me on that. It was in Perth, I think, or Brisbane, whatever. It was just like a lead up tournament to Australian Open. And he beat him in straight sets. He looked comfortable there, but the moment, the pressure was there. The occasion, the Grand Slam, 4th round, going to the quarterfinals, and he just capitulated. Some might say that, he doesn't want to face. I think his next opponent would have been Roberto Bautista Agut, but in the semis he would have played up against Nadal. And some might say, and I see this a lot, that Federer dodges, Novak and Rafa, and the reason he dodges is because he doesn't want to lose, and it's going to go in terms of head to head. He doesn't want to lose more games because right now he's losing against both of them head to head. So if you look at the GOAT conversation, how can someone be GOAT if they're losing head to head to both their rivals? So that's an important point. So once Rafa or Djokovic matches him in slam counts, which is bound to happen, it's inevitable. Federer is only 6 years older than Djokovic, and 5 years older than Rafa. So as long as Rafa and Djokovic stay injury free and stay consistent, and at least if they divvy up the Grand Slams like 2 apiece or whatever, just have one season where they have 2 and then 1 and then 2 type thing, they're going to catch him. They're going to surpass him. But if they just match him, they're GOATs. If Nadal matches Federer's Grand Slam, he will be the GOAT. Based on head to head, based on his dominance on clay. You can say yeah, Federer's dominance on grass, but Nadal's got more Masters 1000s. Nadal, what else? Doesn't have as many World Tour finals, so that would go against him. But his dominance on one surface, on clay, outweighs Federer's dominance on grass. And you could say, in terms of hard court results, yeah, you'd still give the edge to Federer, but because, if Nadal won a couple more like Wimbledon's and a couple more on hard courts, that will look favorably in Nadal's perspective, because then he's kind of like an all-round player, right? If you can have 11 on clay or 12, 13 on clay, and then a couple on grass, aim for 3, I suppose, on grass, and then, the rest on hard court, 5, 6, that's pretty complete as a player. But I think who's going to end up being the GOAT is Novak. I think Novak is ability to consistently to perform on all surfaces. Djokovic is probably the second greatest clay court player of all time. Because if Nadal's the GOAT on clay, if Nadal is the best on clay there ever was, then Djokovic is second. People say Federer is second, but that's not true. So Federer's never been Nadal on clay, right? On French Open. I don't know actually if Federer's ever been in a Masters 1000. I'm not sure about that. Probably like one of those, like lead up tournaments like Monte Carlo, whatever. But Djokovic has been the best at the French when it matters. So, and he took him to a 5-setter. And he should have won that, or he was close to winning that. That was a very contested match. So if it wasn't for that, that infamous kind of when he runs up and he's about to he hits the ball and it goes in, but he hits the net and he loses that point. He was serving. I think it was like up 4-2 or something. So, and if he wins that, he's at advantage. Probably wins that service point 5-2, and he probably wins that match. But because of that, went back to juice. Nadal grinded his way back and won the 5th set. But in terms of finals as well, I think it's either they're matching or Djokovic probably has more French Open final results than Federer. Don't quote me. It's probably very similar. But just the fact that Djokovic has beaten Nadal on clay, I give him the edge in terms of French Open results and being a better clay court player. What else can I talk about the GOAT debate? So Djokovic at his peak, at his prime, people argue that Djokovic's prime was 2011, right? I don't think so. I don't think Djokovic's prime was at 2011. If anything, his prime was more 2015, 2016, since he won 4 in a row, right? 2011, he had too many... Like, he lost to Federer at the French. I remember that. In the semis. And he was dominant. Obviously, he was dominant from the Australian Open period leading up towards the French Open. He hadn't lost many matches, until he hadn't lost a match essentially until he lost that semis against Federer, who stopped that streak. And I think unofficially he had the most successive match wins in a row, but I think McEnroe, or weeks in a row without losing, but then I think it's because they didn't count a certain week or a certain exhibition match, McEnroe was actually ahead by a week, something like that. That's heard Djokovic talking about that in an interview, but that was a very impressive season. He killed it that year. What else can I say? If you talk about the GOAT, you talk about clutch moments. Federer completely capitulated in 2011 US Open semis. That was the worst. You talk about GOAT, that was the worst loss in history. I've never seen anything as unclutch as that. He was up 2-0. Djokovic then comes back, ties the next 2 sets. Pretty clutch. But it gets even more clutch, right? Because we all know what happened. Federer serving 5-3, 40-15. What happens? Djokovic returns, has one of the best returns of all time. Facing huge adversity from the crowd. Obviously, the US Open crowd was completely against him. he hits in a remarkable winner, just like cross court, beautiful. The crowd is like, shuts him up real quick, doesn't it? Then Federer chokes on a forehand, hits the net cord, goes out, it's juice. And then when Djokovic's got advantage, Federer double faults. Super unclutched. Then guess what? Djokovic wins the next 3 games in a row and completes just one of the biggest comebacks of all time, one of the most remarkable comebacks of all time against the supposed GOAT. Sure, Federer's still GOAT right now, just based on slam counts. Any kind of fair weather tennis fan, someone who doesn't look at head-to-heads or statistics or really just number 1 weeks of all time, just like the casual fans, right? They will always put Grand Slam count ahead of everything else. And even some tennis experts and analysts will do the same. But once Djokovic at least matches that, and I believe he'll surpass him, but once he at least gets 20, he's already GOAT. Head-to-head's better. He'll have more weeks at number 1 for sure, because because this year, right, he's already got a lot more. He's got 3,000 to 4,000 points more than Rafa. If he defends Wimbledon and US Open, obviously he's going to stay at number 1. And at the French, he lost at the quarterfinals last year to Cecchinato, right? Cecchinato, is that how you pronounce it? So he's even got more points to add. And he had a terrible lead-up season in clay. So if he can, grab a couple Masters 1000s on clay, at least get to the finals at the French Open, no one's overtaking for year end of number 1. He's going to be year end of number 1. So he's going to have now, I think that would be 6th time at year end number 1, which would be surpassing Federer's 5. If Djokovic can win also a World Tour final again this year, which really, when it comes to Djokovic's legacy, if he can win another World Tour final, then he will have 6 and he'll be on par with Federer's. So then he'll be tied with that, and that's fine. Add an Olympic. I know Olympics isn't as important, but if I'm sure he's eyeing 2020 Tokyo. So if you can win an Olympics there, an Olympic medal like a gold, then again that's going to solidify the GOAT discussion. But again, first and foremost, primarily he should be looking to surpass Federer's 20, and I think I've got all the confidence that he will. He's only 31. He's got plenty of years in front of him. As long as he stays healthy, barring any injury, he's going to do it. He's one of the most consistent tennis players of all time. His shot selection, the way he constructs points is impeccable. He's thinking, it's like a chess game in his mind, right? When he plays, he's just trying to... People say that he's a pusher, but I completely disagree. He's not a pusher. He puts the ball in corners on the lines. He moves his opponent around, and then once he can exploit that lack of movement or a shorter ball or whatever, he punishes them. He just goes for a winner, or at least he goes for a ball that's pretty much a winner, and it creates an unforced error out of that. So how is that ball pushing? It's definitely not. You're not number 1 in the world, arguably GOAT, or you're on your way to becoming the GOAT if you're a ball pusher. That makes no sense. Someone who's kind of like a ball pusher is Andrew Manarino, right? He just kind of gets the ball in play and really doesn't do much on the ball, and he doesn't have the weapons. Djokovic has insane flexibility, insane defensive skills, and offensive skills. He can turn defense into offense. We can see it. The way he does it is incredible. No one else does it like him. Someone who's up and coming, one of the next gen players, Medvedev. He's kind of a little bit emulating his game as Djokovic. In fact, I saw that match, 4th round matchup against them, and that's the only time I honestly think that Djokovic was tested that Australian Open against Medvedev. Medvedev right now is playing on fire. He won was it Sofia, right, which is hard court, and right now he's playing in Rotterdam, 500 ATP tournament, and he dispatched Verdasco just then. And who did he dispatch in the first round? Someone decent. I can't remember. But look, he's looking in great form, and I suspect we're going to hear he's going to make waves, and he's going to be one of the more consistent and better players of the next gen. That's another talk. We can talk about the next gen. I could talk about next gen in later videos, but just real quick about that, because this video is just kind of dragging on, and I've covered a lot of different things, and I'm going to get better at structuring them and kind of, you know, alluding to certain things in different videos, and I'm going to, like, you know, set it up. I'm going to make nice intros. I'm going to edit it out. It's going to be fun. But right now, I just want to state some facts, because I'm just sick of hearing this hate against Djokovic. The guy is probably one of the most gifted tennis players of all time. And the lack of love he's shown is poor, from the crowds, you know, from other tennis experts, from fans. It's just, there is more growing support for Djokovic, definitely, but, you know, it's not where it should be, because we should respect the greatness of him and his ability to play. And by the way, off the court, he's a great guy. You know, if you ever heard Djokovic speak, he's a very good ambassador for the game. And what he's been through in his life, his past is, you know, it's exceptional. The adversity he's faced, and to come out and be number one and have his goals set in front of him and, you know, achieve them. Because he was from Serbia, like a war-torn country. Growing up, I don't think he was that well off, and he dedicated his life to tennis, which is his passion. And yeah, every time you hear he wins a match, his acceptance speeches, or even when he loses, he's very congratulatory of the other. If he loses, that is, he's very congratulatory of the other tennis player, the winner. That he always commends how well they played. You know, even at the net when he loses, he's just like, you know, like, well played. When he always, you know, if there's a good shot against him, he, like, you know, just puts his racket out. Yep, too good. He's really good on the court. I mean, and off the court. But the thing where I think he gets a lot of hate, especially early in his career, was, you know, he's known as a bit of a joker on the court, and, you know, he had a few antics and stuff, but that's all well behind him. And, you know, that's just him being silly, and he's young and having some fun. It was not that bad. It's not, you know, it's nothing like kind of things that, like, for example, Kyrgios is getting himself into these days. By the way, I love Kyrgios. I think Kyrgios is, you know, he's a fun player to watch, and the whole spectacle of Kyrgios makes it interesting. Like, tennis should be fun and exciting, and there should be fresh faces and people doing all sorts of things. Like, let Kyrgios be Kyrgios. Like, if he's gonna act like that, that's fine. It's not really hurting anyone. I suppose when he tanks and stuff, that's kind of poor. But regardless, with all the tweeners and drop shots and just, like, his behavior, it's entertaining. You know, tennis should have all different sorts of personalities. You shouldn't take it so seriously all the time, because it's his own life. If he wants to behave that way, then let him do that, right? But back to Djokovic, I think people maybe think he's you know, arrogant or conceited or whatever because of some of his antics on court, when he's fired up, pumped, you know, or when he's frustrated with the crowd because of the lack of support he gets. It's justifiable. Like, I think he just wants to be as respected and loved and adored as Federer and Nadal, and he's probably not getting that kind of reception that he thinks he deserves, and rightfully so. He's frustrated, and that's how he, you know, voices his opinions through, you know, just, like, you know, sometimes he's glared at the crowd or just, like, roared. And by the way, I love when he roars. It's awesome. When he gets pumped like that, that's sick. You know, when he rips his shirt off after that marathon 2012 match against Nadal, that almost 6-hour match. I mean, that was it 5 hours or 6? I think close to 6, right? That was insane. I mean, that was the coolest thing ever, right? He just ripped his shirt off, just like, who does that? He did that, but it was sick. Like, it's kind of like a gladiator, right? In that mindset, you just almost battled for 6 hours. One of the greatest finals of all time. You just win it. Dude, I'd be doing more than just ripping my shirt off. I'd be, you know, I don't know what I'd be doing, but I'd be pretty ecstatic. So that just pumped everyone up, I reckon. It just pumped him up, and the crowd was going nuts, and it was an awesome spectacle to see. So, you know, Djokovic is just, he's a brilliant player, and yeah, like, in terms of GOAT discussion, I think that he's there. He's pretty much there. If, barring any injuries, I don't see anyone challenging him. Like I said, the next gen, Tsitsipas maybe, but he's inconsistent. He just lost to Zuma right? Rotterdam. He lost the first set, he then won the next set 6-1. He thought he'd get away with it. He thought he would, crush him in the third set, and he loses 7-5. He came back down 4-1, comes back to 4-all, and then loses 7-5. Like, inconsistent, Khachanov loses to an unseeded qualifier, I think. I can't remember his name, but it was like 200 something in the world. Loses in 3, wins the first set, and loses the next 2. Inconsistent. These are 500 ATP tournaments. I mean, they're pretty important. Maybe you could slack off in a 250, but at 500, you want to just continue to improve and be consistent in those. But nah, inconsistent. The only one, like I said, is Medvedev is being consistent. So right now, Djokovic is miles ahead of everyone. Nadal's there, but I don't think he's going to challenge him really at Wimbledon or the US unless mentally can overcome Djokovic's dominance over him and play an unbelievable level, and again, barring any injuries. But I just think Djokovic is too good right now. At the French, obviously Rafa's always going to be favourite, but Djokovic is second favourite, and I believe that he could win this. And if I'll say this now, if Djokovic beats Nadal, like peak Nadal, or just Nadal playing reasonably well at the French, beats him and wins it, then goes on to win the tournament, so has another second non-calendar Grand Slam, he's going to be GOAT for sure. That is impressive as hell. And I mean, furthermore, if he obviously wins the Wimbledon US and finishes the year with 18, 100% GOAT. And no one can deny that anymore. If he wins with 18, he's already GOAT. Like, he needs 2 more to tie him. Federer's not going to, by that time, Federer's going to be done. Not done, but he's not going to win another Grand Slam. So that's my honest opinion. I think a lot of people think like I do. They're a bit delusional. I don't know what they think. They think Federer is going to make some miraculous comeback. He's 38. He's almost 38. I mean, he's not. He's just too old now. And he could get lucky at Wimbledon maybe, but it's just unlikely. Just Djokovic is too good. And again, with Nadal, if he can mentally, get over that blockade against Djokovic, it can just be them for the next, 3 years, 4 years. Not 4. I think next gen will come up by that. I think 2 to 3 years, I can see dominance by them two, and then they'll be getting older, and it'll be more difficult, kind of in Federer's position, it'll be more difficult for them to win some Grand Slams. But still, Federer was winning Grand Slams at 36, 2017, 35, 36. So I don't see why Djokovic and Nadal can't do the same, barring any injuries. Anyway, that's it. That's the GOAT talk. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to upload this. It's gone for 36 minutes, but if people like it, if you want to subscribe, if they want me to do more videos, great. Put out more content, because I want to do this regularly, and I'm just passionate about all sports, not just tennis. But I think for now, I'll stick with tennis, and I just want to make this content because I'm sick of just looking at these videos and having all these, an opinion about everything, but not voicing it, just keeping it to myself or talking to my friends about it. I just wanted to share this on YouTube. So let me know what you guys think, and peace out.